All righty, Dan, you want to kick us off here and then I'll get into a roll call?
Sure. Welcome to our meeting here on Tuesday, September 17th for the review code change proposals and stuff. So go ahead and you can go ahead and do roll call.
All righty. With the tag chair, primary Dan Young.
Present.
I got a notification from Roger that he will not be available today. So our architect primary, Ning Weng. Not seeing them in the attendees list here today. The alternate, Jacob Liddicoat.
Here.
Thank you. Building official primary, Quinn Tai. Not seeing them in the audience today. And the alternate, Ray Shipman. Not seeing them either. For the fire official, fire marshal primary, Ken Brulette. Not seeing him in the audience today either. For the cities and counties primary, Hugo Sotelo.
Present.
Thank you. For the home builder, affordable housing developer primary, Mike Nykrom. Not seeing them in the audience. General contractor developer primary, Bill Mybush. Not seeing him here today either. Manufacturer supplier primary, Ricky Campbell.
Present.
Thank you. For the fire protection engineer primary, Walker Danucci. Not seeing him in the room today. I'm gonna go back. I see Ken Brulette is here now.
Yep, just got off my fire code advisory board meeting, jump on this one, so we're here.
Gotcha. For the fire protection engineer alternate, Dave Cooknut.
Present.
Thank you. For fire sprinkler industry primary, Sean Morgan. Not seeing them in the room today. For the alternate, Kevin Marr.
I'm present.
Thank you. For the general public primary, Samir Mokashi. Not seeing them in here today. For the alternate, Seth Henderson.
Present.
Thank you. For fire alarm industry primary, David Mao.
Present.
Thank you. For the alternate, Zachary Tuck.
Present.
Thank you. And for the fire chief primary, Lance Dahl.
Here.
All righty. We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, Dustin, this is Quinn. I just got here. Sorry I'm late.
All right. With that, we have 9 seats represented here. So we have a quorum and are good to go. Thank you for letting me know, Quinn. So we're good to go to move on to agenda. Or I guess we're welcoming members of the public.
Not hearing any.
Yep.
This is Elizabeth Torsky with Cascade Natural Gas. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Patrick Hanks here with the Building Industry Association of Washington.
Suzanne Mayer with the National Fire Sprinkler Association.
Jamie Knowles with Amerex and Fire Equipment Manufacturers Association.
All right.
Well, that looks like about it on that one.
Yep. Okay. So next on is review and approve agenda. So you have that up on the screen.
This is Quinn. I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
This is Hugo Sotelo. I second that.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on it? Not hearing none, we'll go to all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Looks like that passes. All right, and then we have on here, we have review and approve minutes from 9/3 and 9/10. So go.
And I'll just make a comment on this one. You'll notice the members in attendance and members absent and visitors present. Spaces are blank there. So I forgot to record the Zoom meeting and we don't have all the information for those sections. So those are left blank there. But we've put together the minutes from notes from staff on that one.
Okay. Alrighty, and that's from the 9-3.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then do we want to just, oh, okay, there we go, 9-10. All right.
This is Ken. I got a question on the 9-10. Is that the one you guys stuck me with being the chair?
I believe so. Let me run back.
No, that 9-10, I was there.
Yeah, that's the third. Actually, you were chair on that one.
I was chair on the third?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh God. Okay. So the one that wasn't recorded. Perfect. I like it.
Yeah, nice job. Okay. So,
This is Dave Kokot as an alternate. I'll make a motion to pass both of the minutes, even with the amendments that we don't have the names on the September 3rd ones.
thank you, Dave. Do I have a second?
Ricky Campbell will second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Looks like that one passes.
Although I just noticed in number 5 on the screen, it says dusting curb.
Oh, dusting curb, yes.
I'll get in there and change
So
those.
so Dustin, you're now known as Dusting from now on,
Dusting.
based on our actual name tag.
All right.
All right. That'll take us to number 4 then.
Yeah, any public comment on items not on the agenda? All right, I'm not hearing any, so we will move to item 5, which is review proposals accepted by staff as of 9/16.
All righty. So let me update the share here. So
I'm sorry, I got a question. I know at our last meeting that Jamie had said that he had sent in the proposal for the changes, but is it on the spreadsheet?
it is not on this spreadsheet yet. I got a slew of them that I'm working on to get them out here for everybody to view. And so
Okay.
last week at the end of the week, we were bogged down with the committee meetings. And then here this week, I just haven't had a chance to get to all of them that I've got in the inbox at the moment.
Okay.
Quinn?
Hey, Dustin, I don't know if it's going to affect the quorum, but I have a conflicting meeting at 3 o'clock that I'll have to leave for.
Okay, I think if you were to head out early, we still have a surplus of 1 seat over quorum, so we would be okay at that point. All right, so for what I have for you guys here today, as compared to the last meeting we had, I've only got 2 more proposals on this particular sheet, and it's one from Quinn on section 1207 for electrical storage systems, and this one is to essentially repeal the state amendment where we have number 4 in here and just adopt the model code. And that was Quinn working with the WABO Technical Code Development Committee. Quinn, do you have anything you'd like to say on this particular proposal?
Nope, I think we talked about it the last couple of meetings on it, so nothing new.
All righty. So I'll close out of that one. And then the next one I have here for you guys is from Ken Brulette on section 319.1 and 4106 for mobile food preparation vehicles in general. Ken, do you want to speak on this one a little bit?
Sure. So we have our existing WAC 5154A 0319. I believe we need to strike that and just have it as reserved, because that section has been moved into 4106. I added in there our state amendment of our existing state amendment of or utilized LP gas systems or CNG systems into 4106.1 general. That is the basis for this code change proposal.
And it's just moving around a little bit and same content. Alrighty. One more I wanted to touch on, Ken. I finally got that one back out to you was number 028. Oops. And 028 you said was potentially going to be something that was supposed to be submitted for the building code. And I have it on here holding that one. If we get that one resubmitted in for the building code.
So with code correlation that's supposed to occur, do I need a separate proposal to the building code for the chapter 9?
Well, it was so are they the same number sections in there and everything?
Yeah, I believe it's still this 903.2.9.3. I think it's the same.
Then if it's the same numbers and everything, I don't think we need anything, but I'll go over this one a little bit more and touch base with you here this afternoon after we get out of this meeting on this one, just to make sure I'm not looking for anything else.
Okay, well, if you don't, I do have a general question, and I don't know if it was Walker that was doing 915 carbon monoxide or not.
Yes.
I'm trying to see if that has come in yet, because I'm trying to figure out if he was able to correlate it. And then also there's a code change proposal for the 27 code that kind of does a rewrite of it that Jeff Shapiro put together. And I'm looking at bringing that forward, but I wanted to see Walker's proposal, and I don't know if that's in or not yet, if he sent it in to you.
I believe I've received something from him, but it's one of the ones that I just got in the last couple days and haven't had a chance to get this on the list for you guys today.
Okay.
So what I can do is after we get finished up here today, I can forward that out to you, Ken, so you can check it out and have input on that.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Hugo.
Yeah, just to let you know, I put in a proposal for solid fuel in mobile food trucks. So I don't know if that's the same thing that you're looking for, Ken.
No, mine was carbon monoxide, the whole section 915 that's in the building and fire code.
Okay.
And Hugo, I do have that one from you in the inbox. It's just one I haven't gotten to getting on this list here.
Okay, yeah, I also want to make sure you had all mine too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any of these other proposals we'd like to go back and look at here today, or talk about further, or we can wrap this one up and we can move to talking about other proposals? I know I've got to get a list out to folks saying who all is responsible for what, and it's in the works, but I'm just not quite done with it yet.
So I guess my question is, since the tags proposals for any changes are also due on the 19th, right?
Correct.
So everything has to be in by the 19th, and we're not accepting anything else. And it's the 17th today. How many outstanding ones do you have?
I don't have an awesome answer on that one. I know there's still a few out there, but I would need to go back and review all the stuff we got going on, compare what we have here on this sheet to the stuff I have pending in my inbox compared to the list we have going as well.
And if you don't receive them on time, what happens?
Well, I know that we are trying to hold ourselves to the same standard that we're trying to hold the public to, and I would say that we need to get them in, and maybe I need to have a chat with the rest of the council members to see what we would do if we are looking for proposals that are coming in maybe potentially late.
Can the council themselves make any proposals?
I would say that they probably could, but I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay. All right. Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to, even if it's, as long as the proposal is submitted for that section from the tag member, even though it might not be perfect, it could at least get into the system, right? And
Correct.
that's what I'm looking for, is hoping that we don't miss anything and be caught in this quandary of what are we gonna do.
I think that as long as we get a proposal in on the sections that we're looking to get them in, even if it's not a perfect proposal, we can get it in. And if we're missing, a couple things, we have the grace period that's been talked about for getting them corrected.
So while I got everybody's attention, so Kevin Marr just got off the Seattle Fire Code Advisory Board meeting with me, and just wanted to make everybody know that the Appendix O, which is in the 24 code, which is one of our proposals, so it's not too much off a topic here, was just adopted into an administrative rule in the city of Seattle for the valet trash and recycling. So it's the 24-GP1-002. So as soon as our 21 fire code goes into effect in Seattle, which is hopefully going to be November 15th, we will have rules in the city of Seattle regulating valet trash. And that's why it's important for that Appendix O to also get adopted for the 24 for the state. So there are some rules for AHJ. So just wanted to guys give you a heads up on that. So thank you very much. I'll get off now.
Gotcha. All righty. Anybody else have any proposals they'd like to chat about? Even ones that I don't have here on the list, and to show everybody, we can still talk about them. I would have a hard time pulling up the documents that I don't have linked here on the list quickly, but I'm game to talk about them. Dave?
So I'm looking at the last list that you gave to us where things were, and I believe Walker had quite a few proposals. Has he gotten anything into you?
There's been a few coming in from him, and the emails that I've got contain multiple proposals in them.
Okay. And Hugo had several too. So Hugo, how are you doing on yours?
Yeah, I got all mine in.
Okay. And Ricky, did you get all yours in?
I did.
And Wynn had his name on a couple. Did you get those in? I'm just going down the list for you, Dustin.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Did you have any more, Wynn, or not?
I had 30, I was looking at 3106, and
Okay.
it's a new section, and I was talking to Dustin, and I don't think it's an amendment is needed, that we would just adopt the model code because it's brand new to 2024. But that was my job, was to look into 3106 and see if there's any
Yeah.
amendments needed.
Because I'm of the same opinion that I don't want to lose any of our proposals we've had. So if there is an opportunity, Dustin, to see which ones are missing, I am more than willing to slam some together. I'm going to volunteer Ken too, because he's got to catch up to me.
Okay.
Yeah, believe me, I will.
When we're done here today, I will get out the list of stuff that we have that we're looking for from the tag members, and I'll get that out to you guys here post haste.
Okay, I appreciate that, because we've done a lot of work at this point. I don't want to have anything lost and having to try and figure the things out later on with it.
Okay.
So I do have a question about process, because the City of Seattle, we were reviewing the nightclub section in the fire and building code, and that there was some conflict between the WACs and the RCW with regards to the definition of a nightclub. I think we got it cleaned up in the WAC, but it's not cleaned up. It does not match what's the RCW. So how do we get that RCW updated? Do we need to work through the building code council and legislative? Does something come from the state building code council?
That would have to be all legislative. Anything through RCW would have to go through legislative, have to go legislative to do it.
So when we've identified something that needs to get cleaned up, who do we reach out to?
So
And that's the definition right there. That's the issue.
it's my understanding that we need to find a sponsor to sponsor a bill on the floor. And maybe the best place to start is some of our ex officio members who are members of the legislature. If we can't find a sponsor there, I had some folks reach out to me earlier asking about some legislation and how to get a bill on the floor there. And the best way is to, I guess, reach out to the legislators on their uh, public facing email addresses. And so if we need a list of legislative email addresses, I can get those out. I provided them to somebody else earlier in this process, and I can send out some contacts there.
And your agenda's already been presented for the next building code council meeting, right? So this would just could be brought up as an unrelated item. It could
Another
be
business item, yeah, we have an
Okay.
agenda for that.
Is there possible to put it on your list of other business items that maybe you could bring up and see if you could grab somebody that's an ex officio member?
Yes, I think we can do that. So
Okay.
let's.
Yeah, what did you guys find?
What did we find?
Yeah, what
Oh,
was
it
wrong with
was
the definition?
that it doesn't the A2 occupancy under the 2006 International Building Code. That's been changed in the WAC. That's been removed.
Okay. Because I guess I'm questioning it because, yeah, the RCW had that, the council took the action on that. The definition hasn't really changed from what the original language was. So does it actually need legislative action?
Well, I don't think that that's the issue is that why we've wiped it out through the WAC, but it's still we were just worried about somebody saying, hey, I meet the definition of the 2006 IBC, but for some reason the WAC doesn't match it. Is that going to be a problem or not? So we're just looking at is it worth taking the time of the legislature to make the suggestion to get rid of the 2006 International Building Code reference?
I think it would be nice to not have that necessarily in there. But we have similar kind of leanings on like the energy code. They reference back to the 2006 energy code in some of our WAC, or I mean, sorry, RCW. And it's understood that in our update process that we have updated, every 3 years on those. And so we've made the updates. But I like what you're proposing, Ken, as far as making it so it's not confusing when you read the two side by side. Uh, All right, so I have notes on that one, Ken. Under other business at the council meeting this Friday, I'll bring up the potential removal of that and see if one of our ex officio members would like to sponsor something like that. And we can move that down the line if we get that, and then we can, I guess, regroup and see what might be the desired, should we not get any hits on that. All right. So I guess back to our agenda here. That was the wrong one. Sorry, guys. All right. So I think we've kind of hit on to discuss the proposals, the development by the tag process. So Dave, I appreciate you going down the list that we had at last meeting and kind of calling for it. I'll get a condensed list out there for everybody here this afternoon. Is there anything else we want to discuss on proposal development by the tag? Hugo.
Yeah, since this is my first time submitting those, can you reach out to me if I need to make some changes or adjustments before the 19th due date?
Yes.
Thank you.
As part of that, what I got going on, I got several proposals I'm working through. I'll get response letters out to everybody on what we got going on right now here by the end of this afternoon, and get that for you guys. So Hugo, as part of that, if I send you just an acceptance notification, there will be no corrections on there. And if I have anything I need from you, I'll reach out to you directly, and we can chat about it.
Yeah, and then also one of my emails, that cost analysis tool, if anybody still needs that, if you can send that out. I ended up finding it online, but I don't know if anybody else still needs it.
Gotcha. So I was going through that and trying to make sure that it was working properly. And me and Dave have had a little back and forth on whether or not the formula inside that worksheet is working properly. And Dave, I think that you were indicating that you thought it was working good, and I was trying to make sure that the data looked like I thought it was supposed to look. And Dave, I think with your consensus, if you think it's working good, I'll go ahead and get that forwarded out to everybody so that they can use it.
As best I can tell, it's working fine. I think we're looking for is if we had a replacement cost. And basically put it in under the refurbishment and it put it in the right dates and had the timeline for it. So it seemed to be working correctly.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time on that one. And so that's ready to email out to folks at this point. And I think I have a good list of notes on how to use it and what to expect to come out of it. And so I can get that out to you guys as well tonight. All right. Is there anything else that folks would like to discuss before I hand this back over to Dan to adjourn? I'm not seeing any hands or hearing voices, so Dan, I will yield to you.
Okay, well, it looks like we got done fairly quick, so people get some time back. When's our next meeting, Dustin?
Well, you may want to attend the council meeting this Friday.
Yeah.
Our next meeting, we don't have one set as of yet. But I was thinking that we should have one Tuesday next week to begin work on the proposals now, because we're expecting them to be put back down to us from the council.
Okay.
And Ken
All
has
right.
his hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got one more item. If anybody is, and Hugo, you might be able to help me with this. If anybody is been dealing with the new GHS in Chapter 50 and the SDS forms and how it's not matching up with the new SDS forms are coming out with categories and chemicals in different categories than the fire code normally has done in the past. An example is lacquer thinner is not only a flammable 1B, but it's also coming up as a highly toxic right now, which the fire code, if we regulate it as highly toxic, we wouldn't be having lacquer thinners in buildings because of the quantity limitation. So if anybody else is having any issues with that, please reach out to me. If with any solutions you've been doing, my solution is I'm going to be trying to look at the 2027 code change proposals for how they're going to try to change the fire code to help coordinate the GHS requirements and try to put it into administrative rule for the city of Seattle. So didn't know if anybody else has been running into that problem or not, but if they have been and have solutions, great. Otherwise, then it's just a Seattle problem. Thanks.
Okay. All right. We'll check one more time if there's anything new else. If not, we'll go ahead and adjourn. And sounds like we have the meeting on Friday.
Now we have the council meeting on Friday, and then look for an invite for a fire tag meeting on Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks, guys, and we'll get this wrapped up.
Thank
Right.
you.
Take care,
Thank
buddy.
you, Dustin.